RMJ movie reviews back again, people. And this time, it was very interesting. This is not a movie review. This is just a general discussion about one of my favorite directors. I've actually got two. Now, keep in mind, I'm not saying these are the best directors. I'm saying I have two favorite directors in the world. But right now, I'm just going to talk about my first favorite, which, well, I'll tell you. My favorite director of all time is John Carpenter. My personal favorite from RMJ Movie Reviews. And my second is John Singleton. I know people, but those are my two personal favorite directors of all time. Number one, because John Carpenter is a rebel, and John Singleton, number two, because I feel most of the characters in his kind of earlier and middle of his career, I feel that the characters he makes in his movies are very real. You know, in particular, a lot of the characters that were in Boys, Poetic, Higher Learning, even some of the characters like in Shaft. But those are my two favorite directors of all time. Right now, I'm just going to focus on John Carpenter. I found this really interesting because another fellow YouTuber who I'm subscribed to, and I'm a big fan of his channel, Ramble Raff for Life, he actually just did a discussion on John Carpenter. So I was really surprised that, and the reason I thought about doing this discussion on John Carpenter was that usually when I'm off from work, and I get all my business stuff taken care of and just life stuff in general, usually what I like to do is I like to go to the library. And I like to read as many, I'm into self-help books, and then I usually read a lot of fitness books because I like a lot of fitness stuff. And then I read a lot of movie stuff, and I look at it on YouTube, and I'm always constantly, what I love to watch is because I don't get a chance to make it to these conventions. I have a friend who makes it to ones like in our local area, but I've never had a chance to make it to like the really big ones in California, or the ones down in Texas. Like, I really, really, really so bad want to go to the Alamo Draft House. I'm kind of pissed that eventually when I do make it, it sucks because, I don't drink anymore. I don't drink alcohol anymore. But, so I'm just kind of like, damn, I wish I would have made it there when I still used to drink. But I kicked that. I don't drink anymore. But, I don't ever get a chance. So either way, if I'm on YouTube or something, I always try to look up these little conventions or little places where they do speaking events. And I've listened to all of John Carpenter's commentaries for all his movies, which would be, I'm only going to show two. I ain't going to pull out my whole stash, which you guys already saw. But of course, my favorite horror film of all time, Halloween, Monty's personal favorite of all time. And one of my favorite John Carpenter films, not my favorite, but one of my favorites is Big Trouble in Little China. Love this film. I love both of these movies. And this is just a big difference. Horror, action, fantasy, kung fu, goofball comedy, And that's one of the things I love about John Carpenter. I love the fact that he is absolutely a rebel in his filmmaking. And what made me come up with this video, I'm jumping back a little bit, is either way, the New York Film Academy, which is one of the well-known film schools that you see advertised a lot. I was actually going to go to that film school way back in 2004. When I was a 22-year-old baby. I was going to go to New York Film Academy. I ended up not going there, but I was going to. So either way, John Carpenter had spoke there, I believe. I don't know if this was 2 or 3 years ago, but either way, somebody who recorded it just published it on YouTube. And it's about 55 minutes long. And I say by far, although I love all of John Carpenter's commentaries, I love all of his interviews that he does because he's so badass. He just does not care. But he's a film lover. And you see, and you can hear that in his commentaries, or even he just has like this I don't give a blank attitude. And I just love him, man. He's just awesome. I mean, not just his filmmaking talent. You know, like I've never met the man, but I just absolutely love this dude. Not like that, but you know, I just love him. Like he seems like he would be the coolest dude to just like go to your local pub if I still drink. But in this case, if I was to go to a pub with John Carpenter, I'd probably have a water or a Sprite or something like that, and just sit back and kick it and just talk with this guy. He is so much fun. He's just awesome, and I love how you can just tell he genuinely loves films. But I love also too that, like I was saying, he's a rebel. You know, everybody all knows how, you know, he had done that first independent movie, Dark Star, and then he had done Assault on Precinct 13, which I love both versions. I love the John Carpenter version, and I love the Lawrence Fishburne, Ethan Hawke version too. I love both movies. And then he did Halloween. And then so on and so forth, Escape and The Thing. And The Thing, we all know, was a big box office bomb, which at that time, I believe I was only 1 or 2 years old. So I didn't even see The Thing until well into when it was like on cable. Like, matter of fact, I had seen pieces of it throughout the 80s and the 90s, but I didn't actually sit and watch it all the way through until I think I was about 18 or 19. So this is like in 2000 or 2001 when I actually sat and watched it all the way through. Because when I used to see little clips of it on cable and stuff when I was a kid, the whole thing with the head turning into a spider, it was so gross to me at that time. I couldn't sit through it. Like now, it's awesome. But you know, that's the thing what kind of soured him to the studio system, and then Big Trouble, the stuff with Big Trouble soured him a little bit more. I think Memoirs of an Invisible Man kind of soured him a little bit more, and then I think ultimately what happened with Ghost of Mars, he just said the hell with it, and he was just done. But I love the fact that he is a total rebel. He makes his movies totally against what the conventions are. And I love that. I love that his movies are totally against the conventions. You expect his movies to be one way. And it's just like they were saying on the commentary. You know, Kurt Russell and John Carpenter for Big Trouble in Little China. At the end, like in most movies, the convention would be that Jack kisses Gracie and they ride off into the sun. But nah, that's not the way the movie ends. The movie ends with, aren't you going to kiss her goodbye? No. And he walks out the door. I mean, he's totally against the grain. And I love that. And I love that he just does movies that are so strange and weird and really appealing. And the thing is about John Carpenter's movies, aside from, I'd probably maybe say Assault, Starman, Memoirs of an Invisible Man. You know, those are kind of mainstream movies disguised with his own little touch. But when you look at movies like Big Trouble, The Thing, Halloween, In the Mouth of Madness, Prince of Darkness, I might have said Big Trouble already if I did, Escape from LA, those are all, They Live, those are all such strange movies that have their own little twist. And I love that Carpenter really sticks a middle finger up and says, the hell with all of you guys. I'm going to make the movie that I want to make, and I don't care what you think. And because his movies are so different, I really think you definitely have to have an acquired taste. And I think one of the reasons he's my favorite director, aside from him being a rebel, is he really kind of reminds me of me a little bit. You know what I mean? Because I don't like sports, okay? Growing up as a kid, like, all my friends and a lot of my cousins, they loved, like WWF wrestling. Back in the 80s, it was WWF. They really used to love it. I was kind of a mediocre wrestling fan, but my whole thing about it was there was never any music aside from when they were entering the ring, and there was no, blood or music to go along with the flips and all that kind of stuff. So I was a mediocre wrestling fan, but I used to like the interludes of them talking into the camera, you know what, brother, and all that kind of stuff. And I wasn't really that much of a sports fan. of course I used to love Jordan, and I used to love the Dream Team in the early 90s and all of that. And I used to love I can't remember that 80s sports cartoon that had Michael Jordan, Wayne Gretzky, and who else was the other one who was on it? I can't remember who the other guy was on that cartoon. But I used to like that kind of stuff. But really predominantly, as a guy, I was always expected to be into sports, to be into football, to be into basketball. But I was really more of a person who was into, Schwarzenegger. Schwarzenegger was really the person who, strangely now, finding out about how he really is, but Arnold Schwarzenegger was really the person who started my love of films. Because when I saw him when I was a very little kid, I saw him in Conan the Destroyer. And then I had seen Commando when it first came on video. We all watched that as a family when it first came on video. And then I seen Terminator 1 way before T2 came out. And that started my love of films. And I didn't realize it that as I used to watch these movies, my father used to take me to the movies. My mother, this is in the 80s in the VHS tape era, she used to always record movies for me off of TV. And she used to show me like Shelley Duvall's Fairy Tale Theater. Some of you all might know about that. And I used to watch all these Saturday morning cartoons and the 8 o'clock movie and all that kind of stuff. And that just spurred my imagination. And I'd see these films like Big Trouble. Matter of fact, I still have my VHS copy of Big Trouble in Little China that I taped off the Showtime cable network in the 80s. I actually got it right over there. But I'll show it to you guys one day. When you see the writing, you'll be like, "Oh my God, that is old." Or it might be on one of my videos. But either way, those things spurred my imagination, and I just, the Goonies, Never Ending Story, and then of course Eddie Murphy too. When Eddie Murphy, Beverly Hills Cop, The Golden Child. Like I said, The Golden Child is actually my personal favorite Eddie Murphy movie. But it's also, it's got a black hero. But he's also like a wise ass. So you got the wise ass black hero, and he's in the supernatural Big Trouble in Little China type of situation. So when I'd see movies like that, and then, God rest this other guy, poor soul here, Bill Cosby, when I used to see the Cosby Show, that was another thing that used to get me into movies and stuff. And I realized that I had this love of just things that was outside the norm of everybody else. That also applies to my taste, as you guys probably saw in my video rack back here. I'm probably one of the only people on earth who still owns VHS tapes. And I've got every single movie I've ever recorded on VHS tape from the time I started recording movies when I think I was either 8. I might have been 7 or 8. I think I might have been 8. 8 or 7. I still own every single movie that I ever recorded. So they're kind of like yearbooks for me. But that was a pretty extended version that I went on and on. But that's why I love John Carpenter, because John Carpenter a little bit I feel mirrors my taste a little bit, which is outside of the normal. And also, I'm kind of a little bit like he is. You know what I mean? Of course, I have to do my duty, and I have to, pay this and pay that, and I gotta, follow the orders and the instructions and all of that. But I'm very much a lot like John Carpenter. I'm very much against the system. You know what I mean? And a lot of times, I'm pretty laid back in real life, and I'm a pretty nice guy in real life, but really underneath, I'm like totally against the system. Like for me, if I was to come out here and say I want to go to school and be a professional athlete, that just doesn't float my boat at all. I'd be totally against it. I mean, for me, I'd rather just get out there and make like a really cool, low budget movie, But after I went on and on like that, that's why I love John Carpenter so much, is that he's such a rebel. He's such a cool guy. But I love the fact that he's very balanced. You know what I mean? He's very balanced in that he loves film. He's very relaxed. I listen to how he believes in certain shooting schedules. He believes in how like a lot of shooting schedules, the television show ER from back in the day, right? Those cats were shooting 6 days a week, like 14 hours. And I think that's why goodness, what's her name? Who was on season? I can't remember her name, but like all of this, like Anthony Edwards and all those guys ended up leaving. I mean, it had no life. They don't get me wrong; they're getting paid big bucks, John Carpenter doesn't believe in that style. John Carpenter believes in, you shoot Monday through Friday, you have weekends off. He's the most chill dude in the world. If you guys can find a presentation he did at the New York Film Academy, it's 55 minutes long, and he goes into straight up raw detail about the way the movie business works. So he talks about film, film, we're film lovers, we're film geeks, and we're all that stuff. And he talks about all that great stuff, but he also talks about the business aspect. And I love how aside from that, he's very chill. He doesn't believe in yelling at his crews. He doesn't believe in that. In which case, I've worked on, I haven't even worked on how can I put this? Major motion pictures by Paramount or Warner Brothers or something like that. I haven't made it to that level yet. One day I will, but I haven't made it yet as of today. But I've worked on small short films where there's people who got the nerve to be yelling at people and be treating people like garbage. And I love how John Carpenter talks about how he doesn't believe in treating people like that. Yes, he has his moments if somebody tests you or somebody can't remember their lines. Obviously you get ticked. But generally, he doesn't believe in that. He believes in a relaxed shooting schedule. He believes in treating people right. And he believes in going with your vision, what you believe in, as the filmmaker, what you believe in. See, for me, I get into constant conversations with my friends and stuff all the time about, you like horror movies, and you still like Friday the 13th from the 80s, and this, and that, and you like Never Ending Story, you like Big Trouble in Little China, blah, 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 you like The Golden Child. Okay, all that's fine and true, but that's what I like. Those are the films that appeal to me, and that's what's really cool about Carpenter, is that Carpenter just makes his films from his heart. You know what I mean? He really makes things that he would like to see. I was listening to his interview for Prince of Darkness. On the DVD, the not Anchor Base, the Scream Factory special edition, really good special edition, really good commentary. Prince of Darkness is not one of my favorites, but I really do like the movie a lot. It's really creepy and got some kind of weird stuff in it. But he talked about he really likes horror. He really likes Howard Hawks. He liked the movie Suspiria, Dario Argento. Shamefully, as a horror fan, I've never seen Suspiria, so I will check that out one day. But, I've seen Howard Hawks films, but I look at some of his Howard Hawks films that I used to watch in film school, and then I look at the different movies, and really essentially, like he said millions of times, Vampires is a Western. Escape from New York, Escape from LA has Western-esque type of characters. Even Big Trouble in Little China kind of has Western kind of tropes in it. So those are the movies that appeal to him. And really, he has stated that he originally got into the business to make Westerns. But that wasn't what the producers were giving money for. So he kind of cloaked a Western in these kind of weird sci-fi horror comedy kind of pictures, which I just think is awesome. I just love the fact that he just goes with what he believes in. I love the fact also, too, that everybody said before, he scores his own movies. He's got the most awesome film scores ever. I love his film scores with of course, Big Trouble in Little China is my favorite. Of course, Halloween. I mean, Halloween is just epic. I really like some of the stuff for Prince of Darkness, which is very similar. Matter of fact, all those movies are kind of similar. Big Trouble, Prince of Darkness, They Live, which I like They Live with the cheesy harmonica. I might not sound just like he sounded. But, and I really like the score for Vampires. The Western overtones of Vampires is cool. I just kind of wish that film's pace would have been a little bit tighter and a little bit faster. But you got to remember, From Dusk Till Dawn came out 2 years before. And I was kind of hoping Vampires would have kind of had the pace of From Dusk Till Dawn, and it didn't. But I still like it because you got cool cinematography. You got James Woods. How can you go wrong? And he just shows his ass in that movie. He's the best in that movie. And you got the cool score, And Thomas Ian Griffith from Karate Kid Part 3 and Excessive Force playing Valak, the lead vampire. What more can you ask for, And what's her name? Cheryl. What's her name? Cheryl. What's her name from Twin Peaks? But, she bears her booty. Hey. that's a great thing, But I love his film scores. They're awesome, and he just really goes with his own vision, and he doesn't give a damn who likes it, and he does it on his own. So I just love his kooky little weird movies. He seems like he's a really cool guy, and I love how he's always willing to talk with fans. Yeah, he gets a little bit impatient, but hey, we us geeks and fans, we ask him the same questions 150 times, so he probably gets tired of it, but he still gives back anyway by doing these commentaries and stuff. And anybody who has not heard a John Carpenter commentary, all of them are informative. There was only one that I kind of didn't slightly care for, and that was the Assault on Precinct 13, but even still, it was good. Of course, we all know the Kurt Russell, John Carpenter commentaries are just the best. Big Trouble gets a little bit off topic, but still, Big Trouble is by far my favorite, and probably The Thing, and Escape from New York is probably my last favorite. People say Escape from New York is the best commentary. I disagree on that one, but it's just very, very informative, very humorous, and they keep it real about the business without being trash bags and not throwing anybody under the bus. He's just an awesome guy. John Carpenter is absolutely my all-time favorite. And I think you just have to be a fellow strange person, who likes those kind of quirky, weird movies. I remember there was a girl I used to date who, she had seen a lot of those Carpenter movies because we were the same age. She had seen all those movies from back in the day. And I remember she just thought Big Trouble in Little China was stupid. I think she saw some of They Live, but she thought that was stupid. She hated Escape from LA, which I love Escape from LA. Escape from LA is good. I don't care what anybody says. I guess the only argument I can hear about Escape from LA is that Escape from New York was dark and Escape from LA was light. But but it's still kind of the same movie. The plot line is pretty much the same, except one's a light movie and one's a dark movie, visually and kind of in terms of humor. But although the first one still kind of had the humor, not as upfront as the sequel did. But I don't get it. One is supposed to take place in New York, which is more of a gritty city, and one takes place in LA, which is like the land of like Hollywood and blah, blah, blah. So to me, it just makes logical sense that one will be brighter and kind of more fluffier, and one will be more dark and gritty. It made sense to me, but, whatever. I love it. I wish they would do a commentary for it, but, as it stands, Escape from LA bombed, and we will never, ever, ever get a special edition of that movie, ever. But again, I'm being repetitive, but I just really just think he's just an awesome dude. I love like his middle finger, cigarette smoking attitude. He's awesome, and he has a really, really dry sense of humor. Kind of an actor who did his movies had said that he's kind of standoffish. I don't agree with that. I will say that he seems like he gets a little testy, but I wouldn't necessarily say he's standoffish. He just kind of seems to me that he just kind of has like a more kind of, dry kind of, just kind of a type of sense of humor that you just don't get. Like somebody at the conference asked him about how he felt about the zombie remake of Halloween, and according to Carpenter, Zombie had said, according to him, Zombie lied and said that he was kind of, I don't know. He just kind of just didn't respond to him well, I guess, about him remaking his movie. And Carpenter says that wasn't true. But Carpenter said to the kid in the audience, he was like, well, I don't know why that piece of shit said that. And I was just like, wow. I'm like, this dude is bad ass. And the fact that he said that was so hysterical. Now, the thing about Carpenter is, Carpenter says things like so straightforward because he's up in age. He doesn't care. And also, you can't tell whether he's being truthful or not. I know he says a lot of conferences, I got to go, I got to meet my drug dealer. I kind of wouldn't be surprised if he's actually meeting with somebody who sells weed, you know. Oh goodness, there was another point I was gonna make about Carpenter, which I think I lost it for a minute there. But he's just a hilarious dude, man. He's just highly hilarious. You know, and I love that he makes the kind of movies that he makes. And also what I love is they ask him a lot about how he feels about his movies being remade. And this is what is awesome. This is what I strive for one day when I'm a senior citizen. Is he says what he loves about when they make another Halloween or if they remake one of his movies is that he simply extends his hand and he gets a check. And he says it's the best job in the world where you call me and say, can I remake it? And I say yes, and you pay me. And all I got to do is sit at home and watch basketball. That guy is absolutely awesome. You know, at my young, tender age, I just won't be at that point yet. And I don't deserve to be. I need to pay my dues like everybody else. But I'm telling you, by the time I'm that man's age, I will be sitting on my bum and I will not work again. I swear to God I won't. But Carpenter is awesome. He's my most favorite movie director of all time. Halloween is my favorite horror movie of all time. I love most of his movies in his early catalog. And he just seems like a stand-up dude. You know what I mean? He just seems like he's a really cool guy. He's really chill. He seems really fair. Carpenter is the man. He is the man. I just wanted to get onto my spiel about John Carpenter and why he's my favorite director of all times. He's got kooky, weird movies with weird, kooky characters, and I do think his most funniest movie is Big Trouble in Little China. I think that movie is absolutely hysterical. And not like to laugh at. I genuinely think it is a funny movie. I love it. You know, but my favorite director of all time, John Carpenter. I just wanted to spiel about that and give the reasons for why I love John Carpenter's movies and why I love John Carpenter, the film fan and director. That is from RMJ Movie Reviews, and that's my service announcement for today. For those of you out there who are subscribed to my channel, leave some comments down below about Carpenter or any of the videos you might have seen or interviews that he does on YouTube. We all know what comes next. Thumbs up. Share. Subscribe. Comment down below. Let's talk about John Carpenter. Everything John Carpenter. Hey, let's get a little dirt about how he feels about Halloween 2 from 1981. I would have talked about that a little bit, but I'll let you guys leave some comments down below about that. RMJ Movie Reviews, guys. I will see you soon.